Hello everyone, this is Paul the Oaken Knight coming to you once again, continuing my analysis of the League of Dungeoneers that I had begun with my last video. This time we are going to go ahead and actually do a play demonstration of bouncing into a single room and to have an encounter with some bad guys. And I'll give some final thoughts and a wrap up. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. Okay, here we are at the very beginning of the first campaign's third quest, which is where I left off in my campaign with these guys. What you see are the four dungeoneers standing outside of the dungeon door. The deck behind them is the exploration deck, which is set up with 6 corridors, 6 rooms, plus the objective room. And it is constructed in such a way that we know that the objective room is in the second half of the deck, and that's all we know. A little closer in, these are various cards that help you resolve things quickly. It gives you the actions your heroes do. It guides the actions of monsters. And we can get into that in a little bit. You see to the left, it's doors and chests. So we're going to be using that shortly to pound open the first door. To the right, on one of my 2 handy dandy thingamabobs that I made, I've got the rule book, and I've got the red placeholder on the scenario. I've got my character sheets. These are all 4th level guys, all 3 elves. One's a magic user, one is a cleric, and one is a ranger. And I have a hobbit thief. No heavy fighters, although the cleric does a pretty good job, and the ranger just does the best he can. And here we have the party set up. So we have the cleric in the front line with a melee weapon. We have the ranger in the second row behind the thief, who is in the first row, because he's going to have to check that door out for traps and such. We have the wizard with a torch lit. The main function of the torch lit is gives us 5 extra resilience for the party, and I believe 10 extra perception for the guy holding the torch. I've gone ahead and started the first prayers. I always start that outside the dungeon. I don't see any reason why not. And this is my level 2 prayer card, of which I have 1. It makes us immune from fear, and it degrades terror down to fear. So that will help keep our characters nice and sane as we go through this. Now this dungeon is going to be with the brigands and bandits, so I'm not expecting the true horrible guys that would cause a lot of fear, but I'm going ahead and do that anyway. So this cleric is chanting out his prayer continuously to the eternal annoyance of everybody else with him. Here's our spell deck for this particular wizard. You start with 3 level 1 spells, and he has learned 2 other ones. He's got a level 3 and a level 4 spell. You can only cast up to your own level, but he's level 4 now, so that's all good. You start with 2 prayers, and likewise he's learned 1 level 2 prayer in addition to the 2 level 1s he started with. Here's more just cards to help us through. It'll help guide the monster actions. Some of these cards were from Board Game Geek, downloaded from their file section, so I just created additional cards and went ahead and laminated them together. I find that quite useful, and if I have a guest over, then I have cards for everybody. And over to my self-constructed shelf thingamabobber here, which moves around freely anywhere around the table I want, including the corners. These are the player aid cards for when you're dungeoning. Exceedingly helpful. And you keep the bestiary handy because you probably need it. And this is a quick reference compendium made out of very heavy stock paper, so this thing is going to last. It's just got all kind of stuff in it that you may find useful. All right, so here we are at the door of the dungeon. What do we do? What do we do? Wackadoo, wackadoo. Well, what we do is we have the thief begin by checking that door for traps and checking to see if it's unlocked. Oh, by the way, For those of you like me who haven't used Dungeons and Dragons dice in like decades, uh, all the various shapes and sizes and number of faces on them, guess what? You will use every single one of them in this game. That's why I say this game compares to D&D way more than anything else. All right, the 6-sided die is for traps. The 10-sided dice is checking to see if the door is locked, and the green 6-sider is traps. Traps are only there on a 6. Ha ha! Are we lucky? Oh yeah, we got a trap right away. Isn't that just wonderful? Okay, so and a 6 on the door. So the door is unlocked, but it is trapped. So what do we do? So to deal with this trap, I've got my thief in the front row, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my 3 energy points to activate a skill that a perk that he just got when he made level 4, plus 25 to a single pick lock or disarm trap. So he's going to add 25 to that disarm trap, and he's going to have the maximum. Now, the game says 90, or excuse me, the game says 80 is the maximum. I prefer to use 90 just because these guys are only level 4 and I'm already hitting the ceiling at 80 in a lot of cases. So I'm going to make it 90, just because I can. So he has a 90% chance. We take his energy, and he's down to 2 energy points. All right. So percentile dice, if you please. Lots of percentile dice. All right. And he easily disarms the trap. All right, so the trap is disarmed, and the door is unlocked. Now, the game has you make dungeon tests every turn, whether you're in battle or not. However, when you're outside, when nobody's entered the dungeon yet, that is waived. So I can do anything I want out here, and it's not going to trigger any dungeon rolls, which if they go badly can trigger threat rolls, which if they go badly can trigger monsters or other bad stuff happening. So we are totally safe right here. So what we are going to do is pop open the door. The door has been opened, and I've taken the top exploration card and find there's a large dining hall on the other side of that door. Now the room can be arranged in any fashion I want, as long as I'm not having the door open up through furniture. So you can see this thing in the corner. Probably means I can't align the door with that, but I can pretty much put it just about anywhere else that I want to. So I have placed the room as I wish. Again, you have total flexibility, except for you can't, say, put the door right by a table that would block it. The room says that the party enters a large hall that appears to be some kind of dining hall. There are several tables and chairs placed in the room, and in one corner is a large fireplace. It is difficult to say when it was last used, but the tables are filled with plates and old food. Alongside one wall is two armored mannequins? How about alongside the wall are 2 armored mannequins covered in cobwebs. Okay, and then below the fold here, it gives you a little bit more information. There are 3 tables in the room. They are considered dining tables for searching purposes, and the mannequins, which are here and here, can also be searched. Okay, and then the 2 up here by the door icon tells you there are 2 doors in the room, including the one we just entered through. Now, since this is a room, there's a 50% chance that bad guys are there. So I'm going to pick my favorite die. Oh, let's pick an 8-sided die. Oh, let's pick a percentile die. Okay, so 1 through 5, this is occupied. And it is a 1. Okay, bad guys are here. So we're going to get into a fight straight away. When you get into a fight, you consult the bestiary. And in this case, we know that this dungeon is loaded with thieves and brigands and guys like that. I'm not expecting to find undead or reptiles or orcs or anything like that. So inside of the beastie area there is the bandits and brigands. Now this is a level 4 party. That means we add 30 to a 20-sided die roll, and those are the guys that are here. Although I think I may cheat and make them at the low end of the table. I don't want to be fighting huge monsters here because we want this to be done in a reasonable time. So we got, it's a 13. I'm going to say it's a 3, just for demonstration purposes. So if I rolled a 3 and I add 30, it would be 33. And it is indeed a bunch of bandits. Okay. Where's my finger? There's my finger. It is a bunch of bandits. Okay, we got 2 groups, 1d4. So there's from 1 to 4 in each group. One group has longbows and daggers. The other has battle hammers and shields. And the first group, their armor is 2, and the bowmen, it's 1. So let me roll and set this up, see how many of these guys I got, and pull the cards I need. So I am opting to keep this engagement small just so that it doesn't take too long to do. I've got 2 of the melee equipped guys with their, what do they have again? They have battle hammers. They also have a shield and 2 armor. And then the guy in the corner with his bow has got a long bow, a dagger, and only 1 armor without a shield. Shooting range inside of a dungeon is 10, so that is generally not going to be a problem. And out in the wild, it is unlimited. So it's never a problem if you're outdoors. All right, so I've set the guys. We know what we're up against. I've got things ready. Okay, so the next thing to do is set up the activation tokens. Figures activate by pulling tokens out of a bag, which I will set up in a second. Generally speaking, you get 1 token per character. If you have a named character, which would be a boss of some type, he gets an extra token. We have 4 characters. However, we have one of our guys has a special skill that lets there be an additional token in the bag, and 3 of the 4 have perfect hearing because they are elves, and each one of them is going to get a token in the bag the first round only. So the first round, the good guys are going to have 8 tokens and the bad guys are going to have 3. After that, it's going to be 5 to 3. So let me go ahead and set up the bag. So the first thing that happens in a turn is we make a dungeon roll, but this is a special case. We're still outside the dungeon, so we don't have to make dungeon rolls. I've put the tokens in my lucky bag. I used to have this on the main part of my channel, my lucky bag. Now I have a picture of me standing by a cannon, which is on the top of Snodgrass Hill. It was taken last summer on Father's Day. How about that? Getting to go to see a cannon on Snodgrass Hill for Father's Day. It was excellent. May go back there again this year. It's a big battlefield. Alrighty. First token is Mighty White. That means it's the good guys. Now, there are more tokens than we have heroes out there. What that means is that we still only get to activate each guy 1 time. The extra tokens there just make it more likely the activation comes earlier in the turn. So after all 4 have activated, we can ignore any further white tokens that are pulled from the bag. All right. We have our thief still in front. Probably should have changed him around with the guy in back, but hey, what the heck. All right, so let's go ahead and I like to put these on to the side just so that they don't get all tangled up. I'm going to start with the ranger, who's going to shoot at that guy standing just a little bit in front of him. Now, the rules as written say that there's a 10% chance that you can hit a friendly if you're shooting through him. I ignore that, and instead what I do is say that you can't shoot through a friendly when he is adjacent to a bad guy. When they're in hand-to-hand combat, you can't shoot at the bad guy. But other than that, I don't want to have there be any chance of back shots. It's extremely annoying and very damaging. So no, thank you. All right, so his base is 72 for ranged attacks. He's shooting through one friendly. That will degrade the shot by 10, so that's 62. And the bandit has this 2-hit rating of -5. That is 2B hit, not 2 hit. I don't know why. It should say 2B hit. So instead of 72, it goes down to, as it -10 for the guy in front, 62. That's 57. However, we're not done yet. This guy has some very special abilities. First of which is, he's sitting there with a loaded bow. Okay, so his first action is going to be to aim. He's going to aim. So we're going to put this on his status. Okay, on his character card. So we put that right there. Okay, now that he normally it's a +10, but for him it's a +15 just because he's good. So let's see, he went from a 72 to a 57. So he gets his 15 back. He's back to a 72. All right, and that's what he's shooting for. He's shooting for a 72. However, he's going to burn 1 energy. So he's going to burn 1. And now he's going to get to shoot twice. These bad guys have 12 hit points. And we're going to try to take out the first guy right away. So we're shooting for 72s on percentile dice. First shot is a miss. Ha! Isn't that great? All right, second shot. Second shot is a hit. Second shot's a hit. All right. So I got 1 hit. What we do is we see what kind of defense he's got. He is looking at a guy with armor 2. Okay. And he has, for range, he's 1 die 10 +2. So the -2 for the armor, the +2 for his natural abilities. So it's going to be a straight up 1 die 10 for damage on this guy. We rolled a 6, and that is a convenient number. Would have been nice to kill him, but there wasn't too much chance of that. And I say it's a convenient number because it's at least half of his health. And when you are down to half or less of your health, you lose an action. So this guy only gets 1 action. And I mark off 2 arrows of the 10 he had in his quiver. And these are the ready arrows. The rest of them are in his backpack and inaccessible for this engagement. And 6 points of damage are underneath that guy. And now we pick another token out of the bag. Oh, by the way, the other thing the guy gets to do, this guy gets to do, is he gets a free, he gets to load his bow again for next turn, and that's free for him. So he gets to load for free. He gets, when he uses energy, he gets 2 shots, and he also gets to change weapons without paying an action to do it. So he's a very nimble sort of fellow. All right, let's pick the thief for the next one. I picked another white one. He's going to go defensive. Oh, actually, well, he's got a loaded bow in his hand, actually a sling. So we're going to go ahead and do that. He's going to fire without aiming, and then he's going to go into a parry defensive stance. Let's see, the thief, his bow, his range rating is 63. Well, let's try to do this right. 63. He's not shooting through anybody, so that's good. The guy has no natural armor, but he does have a shield, which will knock it down by 5. So 63 goes to 58. No aiming, so it's a straight up 58. And rolled 27, so that's a hit. The sling is 1d8 for damage. So we're going to use all these dice, guys. We use all the dice. This is like D&D. D&D all over again. Here we go. 8. All right. I think that did him in. Yes. So this guy's gone. So this guy drops with the slingshot from the thief, who now goes into a defensive stance. We've killed our first bad guy. All right. Next. And it's the good guys once again. Let's see. I think we just go into a defensive stance here. He's got his melee weapon out, so the cleric would have to change and then shoot his ranged weapon. I'm just going to have him go into a defensive parry stance. So he's hunkered down by the doorway. Next, yet another white one. All right. Sometimes this is good, sometimes this isn't good. We just have the wizard left. Now let's do our magic thing just for grins. And just to show you how this works, the wizard is going to shoot a magic missile, a flare, at the other melee bandit. And it's a quick and it's a magic missile. Because it's a magic missile, one of his special skills is if he pumps an energy point into it, he rolls in an extra 1d6. Magic missiles are normally 1d8. He gets that. Plus he gets a 1d6 because he's going to use... let's see, that went to the... No, that's fine. The wizard is going to go from 3 to 2. He's going to go from 3 down to 2 energy points, and he's going to pump this. All right. And I think he's going to go ahead and focus. So what focus is going to do is that there's 5% greater chance that the spell will fail catastrophically. So that's going to be a 10% total chance. But it also means that he's got a 10% better chance of the spell happening. So his arcane rating is 73. His wisdom is 60, which means he has 60 mana points. Okay, 60. The CV is 8. That is, I can get it. Come on. This is the difficulty of the spell. So we subtract the 8 from the 73 to get 65. But since we focused, it's now 75 with a 10% chance of something bad happening. We ignore any intervening guys. There is no detriment to intervening guys as far as interfering with the shot. This is a magic missile after all. And he is pumping, so he's going to get a 1d8 plus a 1d6. Well, it blew up in his face. Okay, he rolled a 99. That'll do it every time. So what does that mean? That means that the wizard's sanity goes down by 3. 1, 2, 3. If he gets to 0, he's going to get a disability. Okay? And the party doesn't like seeing that. The party morale goes down by 1. Oh, by the way, and we bang the door. As soon as we open the door, we increase the threat by 1, because opening doors, even if you do it with stealthy lockpicking, still makes noise. So that didn't work very well. All right, so now we know that the rest of the tokens in the bag are black. So we've pulled our first black token, and one of these two guys is going to activate. To determine who's going to activate, we use the enemy activation order card. Number 1 is magic users or enemies armed with ranged weapons. So it's going to be the guy in the corner is going to be the first to activate. He is a humanoid with a missile weapon. So then we refer to the humanoid with a missile weapon card. This is the AI for how bad guys are handled. If within 2 spaces of a hero, move up to m squares away. That's his movement, which is 4. But remain in line of sight. Reload the missile weapon. I'm going to assume it is loaded. Move up to m spaces to get into a position that increases its odds to hit, including climbing objects. So he could climb a table. That would give him that would help him as being an elevated shot. 1, 2, 3. He can climb there, and he has 1 action left. Okay, I'm going to assume his weapon is loaded. So I'm going to give him a loaded token, and he's got 4 movement points. Now he's going to close with our heroes, but he's not going to get too close. So he's going to walk on top of the table. 1, 2, and 2 to get on top of the table. That's 4. And here he is on top of the table with 1 action left. His one action is going to be fire, which will unload his bow. And he can see, I think he can see both of the front rank, but nobody behind. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 on the thief, 4, 5, 6 on the cleric. It's going to be on the thief. All right. He's firing on the thief. And if you look on his card under RS, which is his range statistic, it is a 35. A 35, let's see. Against the guy who's in a parry stance, 10 is lost because of the parry stance, so it's a 25. And then he's got a shield on defense, so it's 20. 20% chance of this arrow hitting. I rolled a 31. The arrow misses. The weapon is now unloaded. And this guy is done. Let's see, I'm pulling white markers because all of our heroes have already activated. The markers don't do anything. The only one that matters is a black marker to activate this guy. Okay. I will put these back in my container. And now he's going to go. And so, once again, we go to our enemy activation. Is he a magic user? No. Is he an enemy adjacent to a hero? No. Is he an enemy adjacent to a hero with other circumstance? No. Is he the closest hero that could charge? Let me look at this. Yes, he could charge because, or actually nope. He does not have a straight shot in. You got to have a straight run in to charge. He does not have that, so he's not going to charge. It's just a regular activation. He has his 4 movement points. He will get to the door, and he'll go. We'll put him by the closest guy. 1, 2, 3. If he had a straight run in, he could have charged, but he's not. That doesn't mean he would have charged. That's going to be based on the humanoid with a close combat weapon table. First, if more than M spaces away, hero moves towards the closest hero. If within, but not adjacent, roll the die. Oh. If within M spaces of a hero, but not adjacent, roll a die. Okay, well, I should have rolled a die. What do we got? A 2. Move into close combat. All right, so he moves into close combat, just exactly what I did. Now that he is there, he's used one of his 2 actions. Now he's just going to use the if adjacent logic. He has no special abilities, so I don't have to roll the first die. I'm just going to roll on the action column. I rolled a 3. Standard attack. Standard attack. Okay, this is his second action, so this will be it for him once he's done. He has got a close combat status of 50. He's going against a guy who is parrying, so that's 40. And the defender has a shield. That's 35. So he has a 35. He has one shot at a 35 chance here. And he rolls a 25. Okay, that is a hit. Now the defender, because he's parrying, can try. He's in a parry stance. Has options. He could dodge. He could parry with a weapon, or he could parry with a shield. All of those are good options. Now, I'm going to have him dodge. You get 1 dodge per engagement. So this is going to be his dodge. This is the only time he gets to do it. He only gets to do it once. His rating, because he's a thievy, sneaky guy, is 70. To that, we add 15 because of the dodge attempt. That's an 85. So he has an 85% chance of dodging this. And he rolled a 13. He absolutely dodges it. So we put this dodge token on the thief. He has dodged. He used his one and only dodge. And the attack is completely negated. All right? That ends round 1. Our heroes have not entered the dungeon proper yet. We do not have to pick We do not have to make a dungeon roll. That would be a 20% chance of having something result from that. That's the kind of the default. If something did happen, we would roll versus the threat, which is now at 4 with a 20-sided die. We roll bigger than a 4, but not a 20. That would be just increase the threat by 1. We roll less, we would decrease the threat, but there would be something happening, which could include reinforcements showing up. If we roll a 20, we just get 5 points back on the threat level, not to go below the minimum for the quest. All right, so nothing bad is happening. I pick up the activation markers. This time, the good guys only get 5, one for each character, plus the extra one because of the special ability of one of our characters. They've used their perfect hearing. That's done for this engagement. The defenders lost a guy. They only get 2. So here we go. We're going to pick activation tokens. There's 5 for the good guys and 2 for the bad guys. Our front rank is in prone, but actually the Hobbit has, instead of having a melee weapon, he's got an unloaded sling. Fortunately, the good guys go first. So he's going to change weapons to his melee weapon, and he is going to maintain his parry status. You lose it at the end, at the beginning of every turn. So to stay in parry status, he's got to do it again. So he is not attacking anybody. He's just changing weapons and staying hunkered. Next, bad guy, and we know that the ranged guy is going to go first. And what he's going to do, the ranged weapon, okay, let's see, what he's going to do is, the first thing he's going to do is reload the weapon. And move to get in position. No, attack. Okay, he's going to roll on the attack table. He has no special abilities. We don't have to roll another die. We can get by with 1 die. He rolled a 4. Shoot. Okay, so he's going to shoot. Let's see. He can't shoot. Can he shoot? So what I'm saying is that I don't have any back shots, but this guy is an immediate melee contact. So if it goes through him, it would prevent this shot, but I don't think it does. It's coming from over to the side. So both are eligible to be hit. All right, 1, 2, 3 is the is the thief. I got a 1. Okay, they're beating up on this poor thief. All right. The ranged weapon is a 35. He's against a guy hunkered down in a defensive stance. That's 25. And he's got a shield. That's a 20. He's not obscured in any way, so it's a 20. All right, rolling for the 20. And he rolled a 60-something. Okay, so he didn't get anywhere near it. His weapon is unloaded again, and he just flat misses. He's done for the turn. Next. All right, the good guys. The good guys. I'm going to do something here. Now, the way I play this is that once you are engaged at point-blank range with an opponent, you are committed to beating up on that guy. You have a zone of control around your sides and your front, but you are not going to be able to hit anyone else unless somebody else has already hit this guy. The standard rule is you can't hit a guy twice until everybody's been hit at least once. And I'm saying more than that just to make it simpler and more sensible to me. If you're standing in front of a guy, that's the guy you're going to swing at. Okay? That's Paul's rule. Do what you want. All right. But nobody is standing in front of the cleric. And so he has really much less need of a defensive stance, which automatically goes away. So he can use both actions offensively. And so I think what I'm going to have him do is use one of his 3 energy points. And he's got a special attack. You have a couple kinds of attack. There's a standard attack, which takes 1 action, no modifiers. You have a charge. So if you can go diagonally straight in or straight in, then you can charge. That gives you a bonus of 10. Or you can do basically a heavy hit. And so, power. Okay, you do a power attack. And the power attack does a couple things. First, it gives you plus 20 on your attack. Okay. And this guy's got a special ability where he can get 2 of these. Even though they are 2 action attacks, he gets to do it twice if he pumps an energy point in, which is exactly what he's going to do. All right, so he's got 2 attacks. His base is 64. We're going to add 20 to that. It's 84. We've got a guy that has got a shield, so that's 79. And 2 hit of -5, that's 74. So we're shooting for a 74 with a power attack. The other thing the power attack does is makes you more vulnerable defensively. So anybody swinging at him, first off, he's not parrying, he's not defensive in any way, so he's much more vulnerable. Plus, it is an additional plus 10 on the attack. So this guy is putting it out there to try to wipe this guy out in 1 schwack, or 2 schwacks if that's what it takes. All right, so we're plus 10, so it's a 74, so we got 2 shots at 74. First shot, that is a hit. Second shot, and that is a hit. Okay, so we got 2 hits. For this guy, his hand-to-hand is 1d8 plus 2. So we have 2 1d8s. Well, 1d8 plus 2, but this guy's got 2 armor. And if we look here, he's got 2 armor, so it's going to be a straight up 1d8. We lose the plus 2. All right, first one, 1d8 is 1 point. 1 point. Oh, that's great. That's what I need. And 7. So we do 8 total damage. 8 total damage. At least that takes it over half, which means he's not going to get 2 actions. He's going to get 1 action. And our cleric is done for the turn. And the next one is also the good guys. So, I don't think he can't see the guy on the table lobbing arrows. We got to get into the room. We can't get in past these guys. We got to take this guy out. So we're going to go back to our wizard and see if he can do a better job this time. Oh, by the way, when he failed with that, he had to use half the spell juice rounded up. I forgot to do that. The flare takes 15, but this guy has a special ability where he pays 2 less than what it says on the card. So it's going to be 13, or 13, have rounded up 7. You only have to use half when you don't succeed in casting the spell. I assume that's even if it blows up. So he's going to have used 7 of his mana of his 60. And if you liked it the first time, doggone it, let's try it again. So it was only a 10% chance of this going bad, and it was, he is a 73. His arcane will go up by 10 because of it'll go up by 10 because he's taking a long time to cast this spell. He's taking 2 actions to cast this. So it's an 83. All right, jeez, we rolled bad. And this will be a single attack. Oh, he'll pump it. Why not? Let's get this over with. Well, no, he won't. Let's say he doesn't, because that guy's already over half hit. So he's not going to use his special ability. He's going to keep the PowerPoint so that we can start really blasting the guy who's lobbing arrows as soon as possible. All right, so it's an 83. His 2 hit. And his shield. Okay, so it's a straight up 73. Let's call it a straight up 73. And it's a 71. Well, he just barely made it. Okay, so this is going to be a 1d8. He's got armor 2. That does count. So it's a 1d8 minus 2. Roll a 1. Ting! This wizard is just really having a bad day. It used 13 more mana. And he's done. So he had 1 spell blow up in his face, 1 magic missile basically doing nothing burger on this guy. And he's still standing there. Let's see. The ranger has not gone. He cannot advance. He can't he can't shoot a bow at a guy through a guy that's engaging him in melee. That's Paul's rule. And so he's done. We're done with this turn. We're still outside the dungeon, so there is no random chance of anything happening here with the dungeon roll. So we're ready to reload the bag and try it again. So let's go ahead and pull from our bag. We have no random event to start this. We haven't entered the dungeon yet. And it's good, guys. All right, enough of this. Enough of this. We're going to do another power blast on this guy. So if we need him, we got 2 attacks. Yes. So it's going to be a 64 plus 20 minus 10. So it's going to be a 74. We got 2 shots at getting hits, and if both hit, then they just both hit. It is a 53, which is a hit, and a 30, another hit. Okay, well, he's got 2 armor, but we've got 1d8 plus 2, so it's going to be 2 1d8s on this guy. First one, 5. Second one, 7. That does him in. He's gone. All right, so now the second guy is gone. Let us pull another shit. Yet another white one. All right, we're going to activate the thief. We got to get him moving. We got to clear this doorway. So his movement is 4. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's going to turn. And I think he's going to do a second move up on the table. You only get you only get half of your movement points if you use two activations for movement. The second activation is done at half. So he's done. Next, the black one. All right. He is now a archer that has a guy next to him. If within 2 of a hero, move up to M away, which is M is 4 for him. So he's just going to back off. Say he goes in the corner to protect his flank. All right, so he's going to back up. He's going to back up. Now what I do is that the rules don't have backing up. So I allow backing up, and I just count it double. When you move through a zone of control, that counts double. When you go forward, that counts 1 point, unless you're going up on an obstacle like a table. And I'm saying you can go back at double also. So this is 2. So 2, 4 with an unloaded bow. And his second action will be to load the bow. And his bow is loaded, and he's done. Next, another good guy. All right. We are going to send in our elf ranger. 1, 2, 3, and then turn. The hobbit thief is not interfering. He has a loaded bow. So he can't, if he wants, he won't have time to aim, but he can shoot unaimed and then immediately reload. He could also do a double shot if he uses an energy point. Maybe that's a good thing. Let's see. Guys, to hit is -5. He does not have a shield, so it's only going to be -5 instead of -10. His natural range shot is a 72, so it's excellent. It's going to be a 67. Sure. He's got one more after this, 67. Now, if I was playing this as a real game, I probably wouldn't be using these energy points so much. You can rest. You're inside the dungeon, and each point has a 50% chance of coming back. But for now, I'm just trying to kill these guys. All right, so what did I say it was? A 72. He wasn't able to aim. -5, 67. Let's see, 17. That's a hit. And an 85. That's a miss. Okay, so he's got 1 hit. This guy only has 1 point of armor. And the ranger's range is 1d10 plus 2. So he's going to have a 1d10 plus 1. 1d10 plus 1 for damage. 3, so he does 4 points of damage on this archer. Note that with only 4 points of damage, the archer is not going to be halved. Not yet, anyway. And another good guy. So we're going to have this cleric get into it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, turn, 1, 2. We don't want to get in the way of the archer, so he moved. He's not in any kind of parry stance. He's running, basically. And now the wizard. 2, 3, 4, turn. And for his second action, he doesn't care about intervening guys because he shoots magic missiles. Oh, man. Okay. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to say he shoots off of a magic missile with his extra 1d6 and he kills the guy. He gets to get this over with. But I think you guys see how this is going to work. We're going to have guys running up to melee this poor archer, and he's going to get torn to pieces here pretty quickly. Alrighty, so this is how things work. Once this is done, we go into non-melee mode. We get experience. We have 3 guys, 90 points each. So each character gets 270 points of experience. All right, so we just finished this. Boom. All this stuff comes off. They're done. They're done. They're done. They're done. They're done. Okay. The next thing they can do is search the room. The game gives a couple alternatives for a way to do that, or search the bodies. I let them, now they're in there, they're going to have to roll for 1 dungeon roll. Okay, so I'll do that. It's 20%. And no, they're fine. And now they can search the bodies. You don't have to run around to find the body. There's one rule that says you do, another rule as an option says you don't. I go in between. So basically they say you don't even have to move in. You can just do it in place. I say you at least get 1 move, and you have to make one dungeon roll, okay, while you're searching bodies. So they do that. They would roll. These guys are, no doubt, they are T1 monster. And as a T1 monster, that is the crappiest. And as the crappiest monsters, they're on the crappiest table. So each guy would roll here on the T1 table. And the T1 table, this would be the result. So 5 through 10 is nothing but scrap. You could find a random weapon when you're a first level guy. That can be good. These guys probably won't find anything useful because they got better stuff. You can find a band-aid, or you can find a small amount of gold. So each body you would roll. Then they can walk around and roll for each of the, I think we got 2 statues and 3 tables. The thief gets to, when he has a successful roll for a treasure, he actually picks 2 cards and then selects the better of the 2. That's just, all thieves get that. And he, with a special ability, actually gets to subtract 1 from the roll, so that's a good thing. Sturdy table. Well, okay, so it's a 40% chance of 1 mundane treasure on the table. And the statues, I guess those things are. The mannequins, but I'll call them statues. And yes, that's much better. So, including awakening a gargoyle. But the thief gets a -1 on this, so he would have a 20% chance of, a 20% chance of having a 1 in 3 shot of getting a wonderful treasure. Otherwise, it's going to be a fine treasure. Okay, if he rolls well. Otherwise, it's going to be coins. Otherwise, nothing. And other guys, who knows? Somebody may find a gargoyle. A dungeon die will be rolled. Then the guys go to the table. Then a dungeon die is going to be rolled. Then they do their search. Then a dungeon die is going to get rolled. And then somebody's going to search the mannequin. So it's going to take some time. The other thing is that a general search on the room. Good things can happen with a general search on the room. So based on the perception of the searching character, and so of course you pick your best guy, and then If two guys are doing a general search, you get a 10-point benefit, and for each additional guy, you get a 5-point benefit. So I think our wizard has a 65 perception. So the first guy helping him is a 75, and the next two makes an 85% chance of success. If they succeed, they're going to roll on this table. A 1 through 15, which is not a bad shot, they find a secret door to a treasure room. Always a good thing. However, you could find a trap, which is a bad thing. I find that this table is worth it every time. I don't hesitate to roll on that. And then they'll line up on the next door and rack them up and get ready to do it all over again. They've got 12 rooms. They can plus the objective room, and they're not going to find anything in the first 6. The objective is going to be in the second half of the deck, cards 7 or later. So that's how this game works. What I'd like to do now is simply give an opinion and wrap it up. Basically, I view this game as an analog to Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure you're not surprised given the number of times I've referred to it. It has a kind of a superficial resemblance to Gloomhaven with the campaign map and all of that. But the heart and soul of the game is AD&D. You're using all of the dice that you put away years ago. Well, you get to take them out and use them here. So if you like the idea of some old school dungeoning, this certainly provides it. You know, the nice thing is if this game was out 30, 40 years ago and it came out instead of the Dungeons and Dragons that we knew, people would have fallen in love with this. Because there's two things in dungeon games. There's the social aspects, which you can have more than one person in this playing cooperatively. And then there's the dungeoneering stuff, which clearly you have here. And you have it in a lot of detail, more detail than most games that I've seen. In fact, more detail than any other game I've ever seen, including AD&D. And you get to do it without a dungeon master, so you don't have all that stuff about putting together a world, having one guy controlling, kind of being the choreographer. And believe me, in doing D&D, a lot depends on the quality of the job that the dungeon master does. If you have a bad dungeon master, D&D can be fairly miserable. If you have a good one, it can be fantastic. But this game takes that completely out of the equation. You have a lot of randomness. You can't blame anybody but the dice. There's no bias against you. There's no bias for you. It just is what it is. So, do I like this game? Yeah, I do like this game. Do I like it more than Gloomhaven? Tough call. Gloomhaven has its place. Let me just say, they're different enough for Gloomhaven has its place. This has its place. I think guys who are more into maybe a modern view of dungeon crawling might like Gloomhaven better. It's its own thing. But if you want to get out all those funky shaped dice that you used 30 years ago or more, I like this. I like this a lot. So I can see bringing this on the table again. No problems. All right. Well, that's what I have for you with Dungeoneering. This will be a wrap on this product. If you have any comments, please go ahead and send them along. I read all of them and respond to most. If you have yet to subscribe, I surely would appreciate if you would throw a subscription my way. Let me know that you appreciated what I'm doing here. And we'll continue on from here with something else. So, for tonight that is, this is Paul the Oaken Knight, wishing you all a pleasant evening.